You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva, in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Definitely want to say thank you to everybody for all the birthday shout-outs. November 7th. Yes, I made it to see another beautiful 44 years. So definitely want to thank all of you. Appreciate you, China White, for the birthday cash app, and to those of you who probably sent cash apps, I just can't remember your name or whatever the case, but I definitely want to thank everybody who shouted me out and also cashed at me for my birthday. So again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all. So I wanted to get into this topic right away because I've been noticing that a lot of the sisters have been weighing in very heavily on your boy young Jezzy. And I beg to differ. A lot of people have pretty much been coming at Jezzy pretty hard. Mostly I would say sisters, black women, have not been cutting Jezzy any slack at all since his divorce with Jeannie Mai. And I definitely first off want to say this, that I do hold both of them equally accountable for the reason that the divorce ended up taking place, because I do believe that both are equally at fault in some form or another. I really don't feel like we should blame more one than the other. But I find it very strange that you have a lot of these sisters going in on Jezzy, saying that Jezzy created another single mother, another broken home. Everybody, something about the women just have it out for Jezzy. Like it's just all of his fault. He's another black man that does not want to take accountability, and he created another single mom, another broken home. So I'm like, I mean, to a certain degree, I feel like, Jeezy probably could have done a little bit more to sustain his marriage, but I really strongly feel that Jezzy should have really thought it out before he married her to begin with. And I also definitely hold Jeannie Mai accountable to not really thinking it through before she went so far as to not only just marrying Jezzy, but also having a child by Jezzy. So this is my whole outlook on the whole situation. So Jezzy recently just did an interview with Nia Long, and I think that was one of the most phenomenal interviews in a long time, because it's so much drama and strife between black men and black women. It's almost like having a civil conversation between black men and black women is almost non-existent. It's almost extinct, because I know y'all been doing y'all YouTube drive-bys in the black sector, and all you see is a lot of disrespect. Either it's black men that are disrespecting the black women, or it's either black women that are disrespecting black men. Very rarely do you see two different genders within the black community who could actually get together and have a very fulfilling, wholesome, yet authentic conversation without the disrespect. So hats off to Nia Long and young Jezzy, who definitely set the pace. And I want to say started a very meaningful trend. I wish more black men and black women would follow this type of positive energy, as far as black men and black women being able to be transparent about their experiences with divorce, with love, with being parents, without the bashing and the backlashing. And it's always our people, because I've been reading the comments, and Jezzy has been very, very transparent about his childhood. And that's something that a lot of black men don't do. Instead of black men being transparent, sharing their childhood traumas, instead what they do is deflect and disrespect, calling women out their names, basically attacking a woman because she has a difference in opinion. We see this all the time in the black YouTube sector. And the one time there's a black man who is being transparent without the disrespect and the deflect, it was still women coming in on him in the comment section, basically saying that, he has these 3-4 baby mamas. He's dysfunctional because he came up, with not being properly raised by another black woman. I mean, his transparency made black women come at him even harder, which definitely demonstrates that's one of the reasons that a lot of brothers don't feel comfortable letting down their guard, being comfortable and transparent with us, because we found a way to weaponize their truth against them. And I won't say it's not just black women. Black men the same way. You can't sit up here and tell these brothers, look, I was young, dumb. I didn't know nothing about love. I didn't know how to choose wisely. When it came to selecting a good father for my child, they would say, no, you always been a hoe. The problem with black women, y'all don't take accountability. Y'all always using y'all past as a crutch for black men to not hold you accountable for your bad choices and bad decisions. So it just shows how toxic, the black community is when it comes to us sharing our truth. And even me being a content creator, there's so much I want to share. I want to be way more open than what I'm used to being. But I know the moment I put all of my deep, transparent issues and thoughts out there, there's going to be somebody that's going to take my truth and weaponize it against me. I had a taste of that with one or two people who I trusted in the black sector space. And I'm glad I did not be as open as I could have been. But just the little mediocre information I shared, they tried to use that against me. So that is why I don't rock with the black YouTube sector as much as I used to. I don't do panels with black women like I used to. And I don't do panels with black men because you cannot be transparent. The black community is so toxic. And we love to find fault in one each other, again, to use as a weapon in the event there's a disagreement down the line, there's conflict down the line. We like to use each other's personal issues against one another. That is just something ingrained in the black community. And I really respect the fact that Nia Long and Jeezy both was very transparent. A lot of people drag Nia Long for something her husband did, as if Nia Long had any control over her husband, not respecting his relationship. So one way or another, black people, we are going to hold each other to the fire. It is just in us. There's no mercy, no grace, no empathy, no sympathy. And I get it. At times we do have to show each other tough love. So we can't always baby and pamper each other either. So there has to be a balance. But this is the part I want to talk about. I'm listening to these black women going in on Jezzy and basically, ridiculing him, brutalizing him for not making the choice to stay in a marriage that was not healthy for him, that was not serving him. Okay, now, I will say this. I do agree that Jezzy should have really thought this through before he married this woman. I don't know if he was just fascinated by the fact that she was an exotica. I'm not sure what made him feel so safe and marrying Jenny Mai so quick and giving her a child so quick. I don't know what actually made him feel safe, but he does seem to have a pattern of having children with women and he don't stay with them. But hearing his childhood and his history, it pretty much makes sense. And this is another problem with a lot of black women as well. When you've been raised in a dysfunctional household and you haven't been given all of the tools to learn how to love, to learn how to be a man, learn how to be a woman, a husband, a wife, a father, unfortunately you will pass those toxic dysfunctional character traits down to your personal life and your children and your companion, vice versa. So it makes a lot of sense after hearing him be very transparent, and I admire that because I'm tired of a lot of these black men being taught that you're not really a man if you're transparent. That somehow it belittles your masculinity if you overshare your childhood trauma. If you share that emotional side of yourself, and because I see so many men that are especially in the black YouTube sector that are very bullyish in a sense, when they do become emotional, I really experience a lot of joy when I see a black man can be transparent and not be bullified, not thinking that he can hide from his transparency by bullying other black men or bullying other black women or degrading or putting down, insulting other people. That way he can hide behind his childhood trauma. You know, believe it or not, a lot of black men and black women are very mean, nasty, bitter, and harsh towards the opposite gender because of childhood trauma that they're not willing to be transparent and honest about. The fact that some of these black men got mommy issues. They can't stand black women because their black mother was the first black woman to disappoint them and abuse them and not show them love, and because they never felt comfortable and being able to be transparent about the things that they have experienced as a young black man when that black woman told them, you ain't gonna be shit like your black daddy. You just as sorry as your father. You gonna be a crackhead. You gonna be in and out of prison just like your father. A lot of these black men are not transparent in that. They didn't have the best relationship with their mother because maybe their mother was on drugs or very neglectful. So it took other family members who had to step in and raise them. A lot of black men have not been raised by their biological mother. Some of them been raised by their grandmother. Some of them been raised by other family members. Some of them been raised by the foster home system. So you have a lot of black men that are very angry because they had everyone else take care of them except the one woman who they looked to take care of them, who womb he came out of was his mother. And I'm glad Jeezy was very open about that because I heard about it all the time, but none of these men wanted to co-sign on it because it's called being a simp if you're keeping it real and you letting down your guard and you're sharing your childhood trauma. So I give Jeezy a lot of props because I know he knows he's going to encounter a lot of backlash after this. Some people are going to use it against him as a weapon, and you're going to have others such as myself who actually respect the fact that he was transparent in his truth, even though he knows it may cost him, people may perceive him as less masculine, or women may perceive him as a man who's not taking accountability. He just wants to use his childhood as an excuse for why he couldn't be this husband. But I commend him for that, and I commend Nia Long because I knew it took a lot for her to really be so outspoken, especially after a lot of people were saying a lot of negative things to her, saying maybe her husband cheated on her because she hit the wall. She's not this pretty young thing, and I think she's still very beautiful and gorgeous. But these men now, they think all women are modern women material now. Doesn't matter how much you conduct yourself as a woman with class, dignity, and grace. They want to put us all in the same box. No matter how much we try to do things different from what the typical hood rats do, they still gonna find a way to make us fit the mold, okay? But interview was phenomenal. My thing is, everybody's coming in for Jeezy, but why no one, and not many of the sisters have stated the fact that Jeannie Mai also played a very huge significant role in this marriage not being able to grow, maintain, or sustain. Because for one, point in case, we all know that young Jeezy has 4 baby mamas. Okay, no, I think he has 3 baby mamas with 4 kids or something like that. I know 2 of them coming from the black woman. Another one comes from a half-breed woman. I forgot her race, but he does have another half-breed child. And then there's Jeannie Mai. I don't know if there was another one in between Jeannie Mai. So, but I know he has more than 2 baby mamas. Okay. Some say 3 baby mamas, some say 4. Y'all correct me in the chat, however many y'all think he has. So, anyway, the women were coming in at Jeezy, okay? And basically saying Jeezy wasn't man enough to stick by his marriage. And basically, okay, so he has 3 kids. Okay, all right, from the looks of it. No, he has 4 children and 3 baby mamas. Okay, so 4 children. Okay, but that's my thing. Do y'all not understand that Jeannie Mai was in a full-term marriage for 10 years to her very first husband? That basically Jeannie Mai did not have to become a 3rd baby mama, because she was married to Freddie Hartez since 2007 and 2018. So way before she even knew Jeezy existed, she had already had a stable foundation. Freddie had absolutely no children, okay? He had no baggage, no baby mama. And who did Jeannie decide to wait after well in her 40s to have her first child from? No shit, Sherlock. Jeezy, who was already a father of three children at the time, and 2 baby mamas. Now creating a 4th child and a 3rd baby mama. So while everybody is raising hell with Jeezy, where is the raising hell for Jeannie Mai? Because I don't know about you ladies, but wouldn't it have made more sense if she would have had her first child from her first husband of 10 years who had no children, no prior children from previous relationships, no prior wives, ex-wives, none of that? Wouldn't it have made more sense if Jeannie Mai would have had her first child from her husband of 10 years that had no baggage? But we want to look at Jeezy and say that Jeezy is the one who's going around here creating single parent households and creating women have to basically do all the work as a single mother. Do we not understand that Jeannie Mai did have the decision way before she got with Jeezy? Jeezy been in multiple relationships. So we already know that Jeezy is not relationship material. As far as we know, definitely not right now until he gets some spiritual healing and some therapy for his childhood trauma, his childhood issues. He's not going to be an effective husband to anybody. This we already know. But I'm looking at Jeannie Mai. Jeannie, did y'all not know Freddie Ben wanted a child from Jeannie Mai? And she kept denying her first husband of 10 years who had no children, no baby mamas. She did not want to give her husband, this was her husband now, not her baby daddy. She did not want to give her husband a child. But she did not mind having her first child with Jeezy, a man who already has a history of not being stable and sticking with the same woman for a substantial amount of time. The proof was in the pudding. So for any woman out there, if you don't want to become another statistic, you don't want to join a single mom club, the single mom committee, the baby mama committee, first thing is first, be aware of that man's past. Be aware of his relationship track record. Does he have a record of not ever being married to any of his baby mamas? Does he have a record of not being consistent and being with any of the women he's dated for a substantial amount of time? It makes common sense to know that a man has a set pattern of going from relationship to relationship and then leaving a child, you should already know what's to come. No different than a lot of these athletes out here, like Chad Ochocinco, like Lil Wayne. It's a lot of men out here. Future, perfect example. Nick Cannon, perfect example. When you already see a man has no stability of being with the same woman for a long amount of time and being actually married, have been somebody's husband, what makes you think you stand a chance? What is so special about you where you think you're going to be the one to break the mold? And Jeannie Mai, like a lot of these women out here, they think something about their box is so golden, something about their hot pocket is so golden, where they just know for a fact they're going to get a man who already has a repeated track record of consistently leaving relationships when it gets hard. He has displayed he's not one to when the tough gets going, the going gets tough. You know, he has already showed he's not willing to weather the storm. What makes you think, oh, I know, because you're an exotica. Oh, I know, because you think, because you look prettier than all the other baby mamas from the past, that something about you, you're going to be the one to break the mold. Now, there are cases in which there have been men who had to go through multiple relationships, like women who went through multiple relationships, finally settled down and learned their lesson. But for the most part, you're taking a big chance when that person has already displayed so many times that they are not stable when it comes to relationships. Sound like to me, Jeezy has, based off of what he's shared so far, he has a hard time dedicating himself to situations, especially when he starts seeing any form of dysfunction, because he has been traumatized by that as a young man, and that trauma has never left him now that he's a grown man. So I'm gathering that once he started seeing Jeannie Mai, you know, spiraling out of control, getting loud, being aggressive, challenging him in ways that he felt was going to take him out of his character, he freaked out and was like, you know what, I got to jump ship. And you have, and it's not just Jeezy, you have a lot of men and women who have been so affected and impacted by their childhood trauma that the moment any type of conflict or any type of uncomfortable situation occurs, they can't handle it because they're still dealing with those issues from their childhood. So it's kind of like if you was raised in a household with a man and a woman that's very abusive and curse each other out a lot, and you always seen your mother, physically fighting your father or vice versa, and the moment you get in a similar situation where you feel like your spouse is about to physically hit you or get aggressive with you, you automatically become traumatized by that. And instead of seeking counseling or seeing if there's a chance that y'all can try to get some help for it, especially if it's new. Now, if it has become a continuous pattern, then absolutely there's no hope in trying to reconcile with a person that has issues of being physically abusive. But if it was just a simple argument and you freaked out because you thought that person was going to hit you, or you freaked out because that person seemed aggressive, and just the fear of it based off of your childhood trauma caused you to abandon your companion. Jeezy said he did go to therapy with Jeannie Mai, so it was not like he did not try to make the effort. Listen, it's no need in bashing or dragging either one of them. The relationship just did not work. The truth of the matter is, neither one of them knew each other well enough. That's the biggest problem. And guess whose fault is that? It's Jeezy's fault, and it's Jeannie Mai's fault. Neither one of them knew each other long enough to make such huge steps, such permanent steps. Marriage and having children, that's nothing to play with, because once you make those type of adult decisions, you got to be able to handle it, because marriage is not a game. Having children is not a game. Marriage and having children are for grown folks. But what it is, we living in times now in which women are becoming more and more impatient and worrying about their biological clock, especially once you start hitting your 40s, and all of the relationships you had and all of the marriages that you had did not work out in your favor. Then you start getting desperate and you start settling because you just really want a baby. You done gave up on the husband thing. You just want a child right now because you feel like marriage ain't going to happen. I'm going on 40. I got to have a baby. So a lot of women out here are making a rational decision, especially women that are over the age of 36 who don't have children and desire to have children. They start trying to force things. And Jeannie Mai, ironically, didn't want any children from her husband in 10 years, but she wanted her very first husband a guy again who already had children from previous relationships. She made him her first husband, and not only she made Jezzy her first husband, she chose him as the father of her child, when she very well could have had a child from her husband in 10 years. Wouldn't that have made more sense? Freddie and Jeannie Mai would have had their first child together. She would have knew what she signed up for. Because yes, even though her and Freddie had issues, but at least she knew what it was. Because she'd been with him for a very long time. He couldn't have been the worst kind of guy because they was together for 10 years. Here it is, Jeezy jumped out and ghosted her within the first year of marriage. So Jeannie Mai is getting back her karma in a sense for how she did her first husband. None of y'all want to talk about that. Y'all want to talk about how wrong Jeezy is, and I agree he could have handled it better, but Jeannie Mai signed up for this. First of all, Jeannie Mai made this decision off of desperation and fantasy. She always had a fetish or fascination for dark meat. She said this. So for one, she didn't get with Jeezy off of the right notion to begin with. So there was no chance in this marriage really being solid, because her motives for getting with Jeezy, marrying Jeezy, and having a child from Jeezy, it was not the right motives. She used Jeezy as a fetish. Like you have some of these guys out here, some of these passport brothers and all of that, who specifically want foreign women or non-colored women for their own fantasy. And when they get with these women and they realize the cultural differences and they realize it's not all what it's cracked up to be, now all of a suddenly, the reality outweighs the fantasy. And the same thing, no different from black women who think getting with non-colored men, they have this fascination thinking it's going to be better, it's going to be easier, they're going to be treated more like queens, only to find out that the bottom shelf Brad, he's no better than, Barry, who hangs out in front of the liquor store all night unemployed. So, you got a lot of men and women who go out here making decisions based off of fetishes and fantasies, and now that y'all married, y'all got to deal with some real core issues at hand. Jeezy did not really understand the dynamics of being with a woman like Jeannie Mai, and Jeannie Mai had no idea what was really expected with being what she was going to encounter dealing with a black man. Black men are very dominant. It's not too many that's going to sit up there and let you run all over them and handle them all kind of way, and they just suck it up, whether you're an exotica or not. Well, she knows that now. And she thought she had an advantage because of her race, that she was going to get Jeezy to kiss her butt and be her puppy and do what she said do, but she found out. You got the wrong brother, because he's not bending over kissing your behind because you're an exotica. Now, you do have some men that are weak for certain races of women, but yet they have lied to themselves because they don't want to say they weak and say, well, the woman over here, they're better to deal with compared to black women. Or what it is, you have learned to humble yourself for that person, for that non-colored woman, to make her desire you in a way that you couldn't get black women who you wouldn't humble yourself down to. So sometimes it's not always about the other race is better. If white women or Mexican women are your fantasy, and you already have a fetish or a fascination for them, you're automatically going to treat them a little better anyway. So in the initial beginning, they're going to treat you great because of the fact of how you started off treating them. But if you already got the stigma that black women ain't shit, and you treating her like she ain't shit, she ain't gonna treat you like you ain't shit either, and the beat goes on. And that's the same thing for the bottom shelf brass. Yeah, it comes to the white guy, you gonna humble yourself, you gonna talk to him like a man, make him feel like a king. But when it comes to your own black men, you talk to them like they garbage, and you wonder why black men handle you certain ways, because we've learned to humble ourselves a certain way when it comes to the other race. It does not mean the race is better. It does not mean foreign women are better. It does not mean white men or foreign men are better. It just means that you have a certain amount of, you have more willingness to humble yourself when it comes to who you really like and who you really want. And see what it is, a lot of these races and a lot of these foreigners, they done learned the game to how American men and American women operate. So they know we are at war with each other, so they're gonna easily be able to find ways to come in and manipulate. You got these foreign women who know how to play the role and humble themselves because they have heard American men talk so harshly about American women. So they have learned how to play the role. But guess what? Once she starts adopting the modern woman principalities or morals, then sooner than later she's gonna get tired of faking the funk too. A lot of these brothers are finding that out. Dr. Dre, rapper Exhibit, you know, all of these men who decide to cross over and thought that these non-colored women was going to stay humble. No, she played the role just to get you comfortable, and she ghosted on you once she got what she needed to get, and vice versa. So, you know, you're not safe because you choose to go outside your race. But again, I'm hearing all of these sisters going in for Jeezy, and I know the biggest problem with a lot of black women is that a lot of black women are dealing with abandonment issues. A lot of them are angry towards their baby daddy. A lot of them don't have a good relationship with the father of their children. And yes, there are some men that are straight up deadbeats. There are some men that have, there are some black women who did it the right way, got married, had kids after the marriage, and still came out on the losing end because they just committed themselves to a black man who would not do right. But for the most part, you have a lot of sisters out here who done made bad choices in the men who they chose to have children from. So the moment they hear any black man abandon, want to divorce his wife, wants to leave his family, it's automatically that stigma that he's not a real black man. Because you know what? All they ever encountered was bum ass dudes. So anytime they hear a black man leave a situation that's not healthy for him, they're automatically going to size him up as being the loser, not being man enough. Listen, a man does not owe it to no woman to prove his strength by dealing with a crazy ass, toxic ass, dysfunctional female. He got to deal with her to prove that he's a real man, to prove that he's a strong black man. I beg to differ. No more than I don't think that a black woman should only be considered a good black woman as long as she's taking shit and being disrespected by her black man. I don't believe no black man or no black woman should have to prove that they are strong and dedicated by sticking around in a dysfunctional ass situation just to prove I'm a good black woman, I'm a good black man. I'm not even about to sit up there and support that. So while all of y'all are going in on Jeezy, I would also remind you that Jeannie Mai has a lot of accountability in this as well, because she didn't have to be a baby mama. She did not have to be. Unlike a lot of these sisters out here who already didn't have the best opportunity, she had the best opportunity. Jeannie Mai was married to a man for a long time who wanted children. She did not want that. You know why? Because she was more asphyxiated on money. Freddie did not make the money that she wanted. Okay, he was good enough to be a husband, but not good enough to be the father to her child, because he wasn't stacking millions. Okay, now here it is. Jeezy got millions, but guess what? She still ain't got the husband or the baby daddy. So this is a lesson to all you women out here. Be careful about picking these men simply because you feel like you can secure the bag with them. You may can secure the bag, but you'll never secure the man. And vice versa for you guys as well. So anyway, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this. Much respect to Jeezy for being transparent. I really love to see black men really share their childhood traumas. A lot of you guys out there that are doing it, don't stop being transparent, because there are black women out here who do respect your transparency. So again, big ups to Jeezy, big ups to Nia Long for really sharing some deep issues that I wish more black men and more black women would have the courage to do. In the meantime, y'all be blessed. Hit that like button, y'all. Please make sure you hit the like button. If you did not subscribe, make sure you subscribe before you leave. Y'all have a good one. And again, thank you everybody for the birthday shout outs. It's your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Y'all take care.